Hi, I'm here to talk about some early reformers of the Gilded Age. So, Thomas Nast was one of these reformers, and he was born in Lindau, Baden, Germany on September 27th, 1840. He came to New York at the age of 6, and at 15 he began to work as a draftsmith for Frank Leslie's illustrated newspaper. And from there, at the age of 18, he began working for Harper's. From there, he began working at Harper's Weekly. This is kind of where he got his start in like political cartoons and everything, because Harper's Weekly is where he put all of his really, like popular cartoons that, brought up some conflict, I guess. I don't He was a really big supporter of the Union, and he was really, really opposed to slavery, so he was a big abolitionist. In 1868, he drew the cartoon This Is a White Man's Government. Now, Nast also made other political cartoons like After the Battle and Emancipation. His cartoons really showed the evils of slavery and the benefits of abolition, of course, because he was an abolitionist. And he did this in his cartoons so much that Lincoln called him our best recruiting sergeant. So yeah, even Lincoln praised him. He often depicted Northerners as vicious exploiters of the helpless blacks. So, Northerners, I didn't really like him. And some of his most effective cartoons were the Tammany Tiger Loose and Group of Vultures Waiting for the Storm to Blow Over. These were made in 1871 during the Fun fact about Thomas Nast was he used to do some oil paintings here and there, used to dabble, and he made one of the most popular images of Santa. It's random. And he popularized the donkey and he popularized the Democratic donkey. And he popularized the Democratic symbol, which is a donkey. So, yeah, that's Thomas Nast. On to Jane Addams. Next reformer I'm going to talk about is Jane Addams. She was a really remarkable woman because she helped the needy and the poor. She also helped children. She tried to fight for world peace, but obviously that's something that's out of question. She was born in Cedarville, Illinois in 1860. Now, she spent a lot of time with her father, and he was a really successful man, John Adams. He didn't really believe in slavery, and he secretly helped those who came through the Underground Railroad. So, yeah, she really got her helping people from her dad, because he wanted to help people. So, she wasn't poor. She was really used to having anything she needed when she needed it, and more. But one year she took a trip with her father, and she saw the poverty around her. She wasn't used to it, and she was, like, why are these people poor? And she wanted, this kind of sparked her wanting to help them. She didn't want to be involved in all that. Instead, she helped people that really needed it, not politics, not government, and not people that are just gonna fight again. She helped the needy, the people that really need it, like the hobos out on the street. I don't know what I'm talking about. She helped people that really needed it, so good on her, right? Goodbye.
So, I'm going to start off a little off topic. So, getting down to business, for as long as people have worked, people have been unhappy with their jobs. And for as long as people have worked for companies, people have tried to band together and protest to make themselves a little more happy with their jobs. So, for my part of the reaction team, I have unionism, and this is where unionism comes in. Unionism is a system or principles and theory of labor unions. But where did labor unions come from? Well, labor unions rely on a practice called collective bargaining. This is where employers discuss things like wage, working conditions, how many hours a week one works, and job security with representatives of the employees from the labor union. Collective bargaining first started in Great Britain in the 19th century and ever since has been a commonly accepted practice in most industrial advanced societies. But when did collective bargaining first take its place in the United States? In 1880, the United States had around 160,000 union members. 120,000 of them were crafters, such as stonecutters, some kinds of railroad workers, engineers, printers, and carpenters. The other 40,000 were industrial type workers. Half were coal miners and the other half were the Knights of Labor. The Knights of Labor started as a labor union of tailors in Philadelphia in 1869, headed by Uriah S. Stevens. As it grew larger, it prided itself on being one of the only labor unions that was all-inclusive. The only people that the Knights of Labor rejected to be members were people like liquor dealers, gamblers, bankers, stock manipulators, and lawyers. The May Day strike in 1886 marked and was a direct result of the decline of the Knights of Labor. The Knights of Labor did leave us a cool legacy though. It's called Labor Day, and that's the reason why we won't have school on May 1st.
Look at the kitty!
Let's talk about the American Federation of Labor. I'm going to abbreviate it the AFL because it has a lot of syllables and it's infuriating to say. The AFL was first called the Federation of Organized Trades and Labor Unions in 1881, but in 1886 it was changed to the much simpler American Federation of Labor. The AFL differed from the Knights of Labor in a few ways. Instead of being densely centralized and made up of individual people, the AFL was made up of various trade labor unions that were affiliates of the AFL. The AFL was pretty effective at securing higher wages, shorter workdays, workmen's compensation, and child labor laws. So effectively, in fact, it had over 10 million members by the time it merged with the Congress of Industrial Organizations.